Hey there, this is old Magnus Boona. First thing I want you to do is smack that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss any of the epic content that I am making for y'all. Today we are going to talk about outdoor cookware, or specifically what I use to cook on when I go out in the woods. As you know, I'm a world-class foodie, and so I can't just eat any garbage when I'm in the woods, but sometimes you gotta eat some lower quality food when you're out hiking. It's just the nature of it. This is my cook kit. It consists of two items. This is my cook pot. It is a MSR ceramic solo pot. It's 1.3 liters. It's aluminum and coated with a ceramic no-stick lining. I really like that feature. I also like that it has these drain holes here in the lid for draining pasta. The second item is this. That is the plate or bowl that I use to eat out of in the woods. It's really handy because, as you can see, it's got high sides like a bowl, but it's flat like a plate. And just in case you're wondering, yes, it is a dog food bowl that I got at the grocery store. It's made out of stainless steel and it's got a rubberized coating on it. So let's take a look at this thing. It pops open like that. It's got this nice handle, locks in place. The lid comes off, and then I have it filled full of additional stuff that I use when I'm cooking. In here is just a cotton bandana. That's handy because sometimes when you're preparing food in the woods, you're going to get something on your hands. You can clean up using that. Maybe something's too hot to touch. You can use that as a hot pad, although this pot does have this, it's got like a silicone coating on the handle so it doesn't get hot when you're cooking. I keep one of these little green scrubbies in here to help clean up when I'm done cooking. This is a tiny little pepper mill. It's made by a company called GSI Outdoors. I like it because it has this cover on the bottom to keep dirt out. That's handy when you're in the woods. I'm a big proponent of fresh ground black pepper. I hate pre-ground black pepper just because it's so flavorless. So even in the woods where I'm really paying attention to weight, I'll carry this thing with me. Likewise, this pot is a little bigger than what a lot of folks would need, like my buddy who's a serious mountaineer and climbs mountains like Mount Baker. He'd probably think that this pot is too large for backpacking, and for what he does it might be. I don't know, I've never done that. But for the kind of backpacking I do, which is hiking anywhere from 3 to 10 miles in, 3 to 10 miles out, spend the night drinking beer and eating food, this is perfect because I'm a bit of a hedonist, and so even in the woods I'm going to try to eat higher end backpacking food. I'm not eating steak out there by any means, but I'm not just eating that crap that comes in a bag from REI. Maybe if I was a serious mountaineer, that's what I'd be eating. So this is a little container of soy sauce. It's got this top on it. I keep this rubber band around it. I think folks call these Ranger bands. My buddy Joshua King, before he left to Southeast Asia, gifted me a bunch of these. It's just a cutting of a bicycle inner tube. I keep it on there to keep the top from opening up. This is filled with soy sauce. Eat a little bit of ramen when I'm in the woods. Of course, like I said, I kick it up a notch. I don't use that packet of MSG they send it with. Instead, I use soy sauce and peanut butter and and peppers and make a custom sauce my own. I'll do a separate video where I'll teach you how to make that one of these days. This is Johnny's seasoning salt. I've got a buddy that fishes when we go out, and so I take this with me because if he does catch a trout, Mom taught me Johnny's seasoning salt. It's great on fish. This is just a little bag of pizza peppers. Crushed red pepper flakes, as they're known. This is iodized salt. It's a little redundant. I've got other salt that I take with me into the woods, but salt's important in cooking. You often need it. This is called a P38 can opener. This is not the legit USGI one. This one's made in Taiwan. I got it at REI. I've only used it once. I used to have one of the real ones, but I lost it somewhere in my life. So I got this guy. I've used it once, it didn't bend, and it got the job done, so that's what I carry right now. So this is propane, butane gas blend that's for my cook stove. This is my cook stove. I got it off eBay. I found another YouTuber recommended it in a video. It only weighs 25 grams. It's tiny, and it was not expensive. I think it was less than 15 bucks. Compared to some of the stuff at REI, which is good gear, that's significantly cheaper. And it's made of titanium, just like the gear at REI. It's made in China, and it works. I've been using it a bit, and it gets the job done. Sometimes when I'm cooking something on real low heat, it does have a tendency to want to blow out. But that's okay, because I'm a handy guy. I've got a solution for that. So I screw this on here like this. Make sure it's shut off. We are indoors. Don't want to asphyxiate myself. So once it's on there, I've got a heat shroud. Yes, this is made from an old Foster's beer can. I cut it with scissors. I used that green scrubby actually to make sure there's no sharp edges on it so I won't cut myself. And then it just sits on there, just like that. Next, we put the pan on. It sits on there like that. When there's actually liquid in it, it's heavy enough to counterbalance that handle. And then the lid just goes on like that. So that's what I use in the woods for cooking. Here is the rest of the gear that I use with me that is food related in the woods. So let's take a closer look at that. First thing I'm going to show you is this. This is made by Sea to Summit. This is my cutlery. It is a knife, fork, and spoon. Originally it came with this tiny carabiner through these holes here on the handle. I don't like that little carabiner because it lets things kind of jingle around, so I replaced it with one of those Ranger bands. Looks like that. It's on there pretty tight. Does a great job keeping those all together. These are made out of aluminum. The only downside to this is if I'm cooking something where I've got to do a lot of continuous stirring, aluminum does get hot and transfers heat fairly well. But I think that's why they put all these holes in the handle, is to not only reduce weight, but also reduce the way it conducts the heat into your hand when you're stirring shit around. This guy's empty right now because I used all of the contents, but I fill that up with butter and take butter out in the woods. You know, butter doesn't need to be refrigerated if you've just got it out for a few days. And if you are that worried about keeping your butter refrigerated, well, use ghee or clarified butter because it doesn't need to be refrigerated, and you can use that as well and carry it out in the woods. Hand sanitizer is important. You know, when you're out there, you're wiping your butt, you're going pee, you're doing stuff like that, and you've got to keep clean hands. And so you can wash them with water, you can wipe them down with baby wipes, then always put some of that on there so you don't give yourself cholera or something stupid like that, hepatitis. You know, you'd feel pretty stupid telling that story. This is pretty handy. Its weight you don't necessarily need to carry. It is a diamond sharpening stone. DMT is the company that makes this thing. It's fine on this side. I know that because I wrote fine on it in Sharpie right here on the handle. And it's coarse on this side. I only carry 2 knives with me in the woods. I've got a Psycho Marine, former Marine buddy that he'll carry way more edge tools than he actually needs. I carry 2, and that's 1 more than I actually need. I carry my Ontario Knife Company Cutlery. It does the job of a machete and an axe and is kind of a handy tool when you're preparing firewood for a fire. but again, not necessary. And then I carry this. This is my old pocket knife. It's made by Cold Steel. I have literally had this thing forever. I think I got it back when I was 21. I'm 37 now. Hell, I might have been younger than that. It's held up like a tank. It's a great frickin' knife. They still make a similar model. They changed the shape of it a little bit, but it's great. Cold Steel. But I'll use that for my cooking needs if I need to cut something. Mostly I'm just opening packages, maybe cutting up some Spam. Can fillet a fish with it, obviously. So they call this a spice missile, I believe. It's made by GSI. Each one of these little containers in it has two parts. Let's see if I can do this. Oh. We've got a malfunction. That little thing there is supposed to be stuck to the top of this. This lid actually broke, GSI Outdoors, and I had to super glue it, and maybe in the process accidentally glued that lid to it. Let's take a look at, here we go. That's better. So, as you can see, this one I modified, but it had a shaker top, and then it rotates, so you're only shaking one side of your spices. I think I've got, that's oregano, and that's basil. And so, I rotate to the side to shake whatever I need out of it. The top one has salt and smoked salt in it. And there, that's a better view of what the shaker part looks like. This one's got ground chipotle pepper on that side, and onion powder. And onion powder on that side. If you need to adjust anything in a recipe, it's nice to have this. I'm gonna get in touch with GSI and see about getting a new lid for this thing. Most of these companies, you know, they charge you out the ass for this silly stuff because they're all niche products, but they typically have pretty good customer service. We'll get in touch with those guys, see if they'll help us out. This is a tiny bottle of macadamia nut oil. Macadamia nut oil is awesome. It's got all the health benefits of olive oil, except for it doesn't oxidize as rapidly as extra virgin olive oil does. And it's got a much higher smoke point. I think the smoke point is like 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's got a nice neutral, nutty, almost buttery type flavor. So I will use that in pasta water to prevent boilovers. I'll use it if I need to cook an egg, something of that nature. Likewise, oil is loaded with calories. So if for some reason I got stuck out longer than I needed to, I've got some oil there loaded with calories. You don't want to consume that by itself because you'd probably get the shits. But if you could find something fibrous to eat with that, you could last for a while. This is an empty Nalgene bottle. I haven't found anything to put in it yet, but I'm sure I will. Probably something like garlic. Garlic powder or pre-minced garlic. We'll see. I might just leave it empty so that it's recipe specific. It'll be ready for something if I need it. This is made by Sea to Summit. That's designed for washing your body. It's designed for washing your dishes, and it's designed also for washing your clothes if you need to. It's super concentrated. This cap holds about 3 to 5 milliliters, and you use about 1 cap full per 10 liters of water. Though it's biodegradable, they say to keep it out of the water supply. Use it 100 meters away. Well, I guess that's everything, except for one of my favorite beers, Nooner Pilsner from Sierra Nevada. Well, hey, I hope you got some information out of that you can use for your own cook kit. I've noticed on the YouTube that there's a lot of people that have different videos of what they use to cook on out in the woods, and it's helped me to assemble what I use, and maybe what I use is going to help you. Thanks for watching.